Welcome back to the Iron Insight. Thank you for starting your week off right with the Iron Insight every Monday morning at 4 a.m. I'm Bryn Welds,
And I'm the co-host, Andrew Nichols.
and today we're sitting down with Weston from Salt City Steel. How's it going?
Good, man. Thank you for having me. It's been a while since I've been on one of these. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, what was the last one on? Arc Junkies?
No, I went on the AWS one, and then after that there was another one. I forget what that one was, but I haven't been on in a minute. It's been quite a while.
Yeah, I listened to the Arc Junkies one when that first came out, and I thought your story was pretty cool.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it's kind of different, I guess. I've done it a little different way than some, but yeah, the Arc Jerky one was good. I love talking to Jason. I was talking to him the other night a bit. Hopefully meet up with him here at FabTech too. It's the plan to meet up with all these guys, meet up with you guys. Should be a good time.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
when are you flying in?
We're actually flying out tonight. We're gonna leave
Oh,
tonight.
really?
Yeah, we're gonna head down to Key West, taking the kids and the wife. We're gonna head down to Key West for like 5, 6 days, and then drive back up. And I take 2 days to drive up because it's far as hell, and then hang out in Orlando with the kids and the wife for the week. I think my wife booked it all, so I don't know really know what the plans are totally.
Yeah, so you'll
Solid
be
choice,
there.
though. Key West is going to be freaking nice, man.
Hope so. Hope so. We went a few years ago. My mom's a big fan of it, so we've been once now. So it's pretty cool there. Hopefully we get out and do some
Yeah,
fishing and stuff this time. Should be pretty
absolutely.
cool.
Let me know. Let me know if you need any helps or tips or anything. I mean, I've
Oh,
been down there quite a few times fishing. So
okay, we will. I think we'll do a charter thing, of course, 'cause I don't know how to do that shit on an ocean. I'm in here in Salt Lake. There's no oceans anywhere near here. They're scary as hell to me, dude. They're freaking
you, yeah,
terrifying.
you can fish right off the roadways underneath the bridges, though. You'd be surprised. You could pull out some Goliath groupers, big sharks. I mean, it's unbelievable fishing down there. It's gorgeous. So
Oh, wow. Man, maybe we should just take a poll and buy some shit that we get.
just go go to Walmart, get you a catfish pole, and
Yeah.
you
Dang,
could you
might
could
be
have
all right.
fun with it.
Might be an option. My boy loves fishing right now. He's been going on his own. Like we got like little ponds and creeks through town and shit, and he's been fishing those with his buddies after school. Like we're in the middle of the city, and
Good
he's
for
like
him.
city fishing through they're like real creeks that come out of the mountains right above us, but so they've only been in the city for maybe 2 miles or something, and he's got these little holding ponds where he goes and starts fishing. So he's having fun
Good
with it.
for
Hopefully
him.
he's staying out of trouble a little bit with it.
Yeah, Andrew's from Florida, but I'm from and here in Nebraska, landlocked, far from any ocean, so it's
Yeah, they're
terrifying for me.
they're scary as shit, dude.
I was in the Virgin Islands in July, and we took a deep sea charter. And
Oh hell
once
yeah.
I couldn't see St. Thomas, the island, I was pretty terrified.
Yeah, haven't even been that way. I haven't been out where you can't see anything. I don't think we went to Hawaii and all that, and you can always see that. I haven't been out that far, but even swimming in it, like how deep is this shit? Like it's gnarly.
Yeah,
It's
speaking of
all
the
kinds of
Keys, we were offshore in like what was it? It was 1,000 foot of water, and we were out there swimming, and it's a different feeling knowing there is like nothing below you.
and then there's a whole bunch of shit there too.
Oh, I mean, yeah, there's a whole bunch of shit below you.
There's tons of critters that you don't even know are there. I don't know. That's different than what I'm used to.
I
Well,
That's wild.
glad we'll see you at FabTech, and glad to make a little family vacation out of it. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it's kind of a good one to write it off a little bit and get them. They love going to the parks and all that shit, so I couldn't really tell them no. So should be good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this would be my first time in Florida, and FabTech's first time as well.
Oh, it is. Okay, yeah, it'll be interesting how the show goes then. It's a big ass town, so I'm sure it'll be cool.
Yeah, you was Atlanta your first one in 2022?
Yeah, it was. That was the first one I made it to, and then I missed last year. It was not a good year for the kids being away from them and shit, so we didn't really plan ahead that well for it either. So it'll be the first one, and I don't have a booth or nothing, but just be walking around saying hi to everybody. So I was looking at
There you
doing
go.
a booth, but holy crap, it'll cost me a bunch of money and a bit of a gamble. So decided not to
So
again.
I've heard a couple of prices. What was it looking like for like a 10
So
by
I
10?
was quoted for a 10 by 10, like 4 grand, 35 or something, 3 to 4,000 just for the booth, like only. And then you'd have to get like you had to do carpet, you had to pay extra for that shit, and then I have to get a table and all my product. So I'd bring all my products, all the Picket Masters with me, and then imagine like I got to pay buddies to help or whatever. I can't have my wife do it all. So I think in the end I'd be about 20 grand. I'm thinking at least I got to fly people in, feed them, house them. I think it'd be pretty spendy, but so it was a tough one to do. But there's one coming here, and when it comes back to Vegas, I'll probably do that one because then I can do it a little cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to be in Vegas, but F1's that same weekend. So
Oh, that's what changed it. Okay.
right,
Yeah, Vegas would have been great because shit, I'm only about 400 miles from there, and then I could get a cheap place, and that would have been a way to go. But gotta wait, I guess.
yeah. Last year in Chicago, I knew a couple, husband and wife, that had a booth, a 10x10. They were able to drive probably about a similar distance as you are from Vegas, and they said about 10,000 altogether.
Yeah, so yeah, driving would be about that. I could see that, and bringing a buddy or two, and I'm sure they're not going to charge you to work, but you got to feed them, and that alone doubles your price. And it really could have got me more exposure for sure, but I don't know. Then I got to commit. Committing to something like that it changes the world.
That's a
So
huge investment, huge commitment, no doubt.
at that point, it's when it's like, okay, we're going full time or something like that. So we're not ready for that. I don't think. Maybe, who knows? Wait until it has to happen. Really.
And for those that aren't familiar with your work, you invented the Picket Master Pro.
Yeah, Picket Master Pro's mine, the equal spacing layout tool, and now the center finder. We've been doing really well with that one, so you can instantly find center on everything. Yeah, that's me. So we've been having fun with that since COVID, about 2020, I think we started it, right about that. Because I've always wanted a tool like it, because I did handrails. Like, that's what I got into this shit doing was handrails back at 20 plus years ago now. And they had tools similar to the Picket Master that would equal space out your pickets without any thought, any math. And I never could buy them, like, at all. I'd search every few years. Once I quit, I was like, oh, let's find one of these. I hate doing the math. It just seemed like a waste of time. And I never could find them. There's some out there that were smaller, some for wood guys with stupid, that weren't very, like, didn't have that many points. So finally we built one during COVID when we were sitting around not working. And they started selling. I built one for myself. Like, shit, let's sell this thing. Posted it up on Instagram. Bugged a few guys. Hey, check this out. Check this out. Check this out. And just kind of harassed people. And people bought it. So once they started buying it, I started making more and more and more. And here we are, 4 or 5 years later. And we actually made money. It's kind of cool. It's kind of fun to be able to give everybody a tool that they can actually use in their shop. And I've had hardly any bad reviews ever. So it's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, and it looks fairly simple, but how much trial and error did it take you to get to the designs that you have now?
Oh, it's a totally different tool than what I started with. The first one I built by hand. I built like 100 probably by hand out of some aluminum flat bar sitting at the chop saw cutting it up. And you guys done mass production. It's so hard to get it exactly the same. I'd have like all kinds of jigs set up, and if the blade wandered, I was only cutting 45s, then I'd have to drill all the holes by hand. And that was even harder to get exact. I don't have a machine shop, dude. I'm doing it on a drill press with fence building like hole on jigs. So if I'd move it over, it would work and it would be okay. And the holes would, like a regular drill bit, they'd go bigger sometimes. So getting the holes just right didn't work. And people were buying it and loving it, even though it wasn't super accurate at that point. But it took a shitload of work. I had to spend way more time on those. And then once I finally, like, okay, we got to get these laser cuts. I had one laser cut out of some stainless. Now, like, oh shit, this is easy now.
Life changing right there. I bet that was like, whoa.
Yeah, as soon as I bought, so I ordered one kit from. I used like an Osh cut. I had them cut one for me. It showed up instantly. Right as it showed up, put it together. I ordered more. Like it was so easy. Yeah, that was it's changed since then too. Because those original ones, they showed up. I just put them together straight like that. Like didn't process the steel, the metal after. And now I found out, okay, I got to drill the holes out on my own because I couldn't get to the laser shops. And I went through a few. I'm using SendCut Zen now for all my stuff, so they're laser cutting for me
Shout
now.
out
And even
SendCut Zen, yeah, love those guys.
Yeah, they're killing it. And they outdid Oshcut by so much, dude. Oshcut, same deal. They're the exact same company. I don't know if you've seen them, but they wouldn't fudge on their prices. Don't tell them that I'm talking shit, but they would not. They're right here in Utah, and they would not help me out. like, guys, I've spent thousands of dollars with you guys. They're like, nope, price is the price. We just upped it. I'm like, no. So Zencut Sand has helped me out so much. They're great with their prices. They show up like, I'll order from Zencut Sand. So I guess we jumped up ahead, and then I'll order on Saturday. Shows up on Friday or sooner. Like, it's less than a week to get parts from those guys. If you guys haven't tried them, they're so freaking fast. It's so
I
cool.
tried them. Yeah.
I'm ordering thousands of parts, and they show up with in under a week. Like, there's nobody local who's going to do work that quick. We can't go to your local laser shop and be like, hey, can you get this to me this quick without charging up the ass? Like, it's not going to happen. And then you don't have to, like, wait for a quote. All that shit is so cool. They're crushing it. But yeah, back to the product. So I went with those guys, and they started laser cutting them, and they never could get the holes where the pivots are exactly right. They'd either be a little bit too big or a little bit too small. Finally, I'm like, okay, let's always go small. And now I ream every hole out. So I take more time, process every part, ream every hole out. And then I did that for a year or so. And then I started tumbling the parts too. So now they're all tumble finished in a parts vibrator. So yeah, it's a totally different product really than it used to be. It cost me more money.
What kind of media do you use in your vibratory tumbler for that material?
I just use the Harbor Freight. I get the ceramic, those little triangles, with some soap and some water, and it just goes down.
And that gives you the proper finish. Nice.
Yeah, I'm happy with it enough. I haven't really messed with many other medias yet, and heck, the media I'm running now it's got to be 20,000 parts old. It's gotten a lot smaller, but it's still working.
That's impressive.
I haven't really bothered messing with it. I've gone through a few tumbler bowls because I'm just using the same thing, the Harbor Freight bowls. I don't know if you guys did see, I tried to make one out of a propane tank. It worked for a minute, and then it really isn't working. It's not shaking like I want it. It's too heavy.
Yeah.
Doesn't mix it up. So I went back to the plastic bowls, and I'll blow holes through those plastic bowls.
I bet those Picket Master Pros can be sharp, man.
They start, and that's why I started tumbling, because they were sharp as shit. But yeah, they start out really, really sharp. Like, and even now, after tumbling them, the points are still pretty damn sharp. I think you guys have a couple, so you know how sharp they are. They really suck when you drop them on your foot or something. Don't do that.
I think I have both your spacing tool and your center finder, and man, just you pull it out of the package, it's like, oh shit, this is not like a rinky dink piece of shit. This is real stainless. Like, this has some heft to it. So it's great. They're durable products. I'll tell you that much.
Dude, I love hearing that, because that's all the ones I could ever find before were just junk. There's a couple. There is another one out there that you can buy at one of the wood suppliers that they make, and it's just, there's no sharp point on it. It's got like a rounded top. They're just not what I wanted. So it's finally why we came out with what we got now. And yeah, 14 gauge stainless. It's pretty dang hefty. Works pretty well.
How far apart does the center finder spread?
13 inches all the way open. So from end to end, you're right at 13, how the math worked out. It almost can be a little less, but it's really right at 13. Then you find your center there. So so it's not huge, but whatever. Tape measures do work. We all know how to do math. But that's what I get a lot of hate on TikTok, especially. Like, oh, it's stupid. Use the math. Why? Why measure shit? Like, you guys get it, where when you have to measure, you're going to be wrong. You go out and measure something.
Simple, stupid. Yep.
Yeah. People get so fired up about needing to measure. It's like, why do you want to measure anything? Because as soon as you transfer that measurement to your material, no matter where you mark it, whatever, it's wrong. It happens all the time. So that's where just transferring, using it to find your center, there it is. And sometimes, if you're not 100% exactly perfect, who cares if you're off by a couple thousandths on certain materials, certain projects. But it's more about how a guy marks with the tool. Like, that's where you're going to get more accurate. Just like anything, but doing math is dumb. So why do it?
Math is dumb. You ought to get that a sticker made and then have a Picket Master Pro in front of it.
I really need to. That would be a great one.
Because you do get a lot of haters. I mean, boy, if you want to read some nasty comments, all I got to do is go to your TikTok and there's just dogging on you.
It's weird as shit, dude. I don't get that on Instagram.
You don't have to buy it. No. Yeah, you don't have to buy this. Just keep scrolling.
I don't know who I pissed off or what, if it's the robots or if some big corporation's paying these guys to hate me. There's some
Tape Measure Corporation is a hating on you.
For real, dude, it's so weird how much negativity TikTok gets, and then those are the posts that get more views when I respond to those assholes. But then I'll go look at their like profiles. They're not real people. They're like they seem
Nope.
fake as shit. They're all the same. They have content either they stole from everybody else, so they have millions of views on these videos that aren't theirs, or they're video game players, and that's what they post. That's the two people. Like they post all these shots of video games and shit. Like you guys don't want this. What do you give a fuck for it about it? Like I don't. It's crazy how much hate I get on there, but it gets me views, so whatever. We get a lot of sales. We've been selling on TikTok Shop, and that's part of it. Like people want garbage when they go to TikTok Shop. They're used to buying a foreign-made product that's junk, so I guess they get mad when something's legit that's on the TikTok Shop. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Right. I
Now,
was gonna say like my first video was when I was like 15 years old. It was one of my first welds when I thought I was good, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
And man, it was just full of hate. But the hate comments helped that video get 40,000 views. So at the end of the day,
Damn.
he was winning.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take it and I'll respond to them and I'll keep going with it because it gets me more and more views. Like any of the basic good videos don't get shit for views anymore. People only want to see negative bullshit. I don't get
Yep.
why that is. It drives me
What do you
crazy.
think about the TikTok shop? Do you like it from a seller's standpoint?
I do. I actually do. I was shocked with how much I would like it. It's pretty easy to deal with. You actually make a pretty decent amount of money. We're not charged. They don't take a lot for us either. I think it's in the end it's 3% plus like 30 cents a sale. So it's the same as credit card companies take it. And like you don't
Right.
so it's and then they deal with everything with the tracking numbers, they give you all that. Like you put in how much you're gonna pay for shipping. Once you get it sorted, it's pretty decent. I was actually shocked with how much we like using it. You can even like batch ship. Once you get your shipping, you hit a button and it just starts printing all the and shipping labels out. It's actually pretty cool. Shockingly decent. We made a lot of money when we first got on it. We sold a lot. Like it was a huge number the first couple months. And so it was really nice to be on there. Should have done it a long time ago, really. I'd recommend it to people. Try it out, but you will get a lot of hate. You got to have some thick skin with some of them because that part can drive you crazy because people don't want to see people doing something. They don't want to see positive things going on. They want to see terrible shit, people failing, I guess. Or that's what it seems like on there.
Yeah. And is the goal to release more products similar to this, solving problems, and go full time eventually? Because I feel like your maintenance at a ski resort, right? 9 to 5.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, I'm a ski lift mechanic on the ski lifts. I work on the ski lifts only. I do a lot of really, really cool work on those. So yeah, I don't know what the goal is, dude. I really don't. I've never been like a goal oriented person at all. And I remember that shit like in school when they're like, hey, put in your goals. I'm like, I don't know. I don't give a shit. It just works out. I just work. I bust ass no matter what. So I don't really have a true plan. My kids are in their early teens right now. So that's kind of like the talk is, hey, once the kids are got out of the house, maybe then we go full time. But I don't know. Like we'll see where it goes. That's kind of what I've been with the Picket Master since day one. Is let's do this until it doesn't work anymore. And I thought we'd be doing this for a year, a couple months, and it's still going. We're getting sales today. It's like I just keep going. So I don't know what the goal is, to tell you the truth, dude. Like I said, I'm not a goal oriented person. I hate to say that to people, I guess, because you're supposed to be. It's what they want you to do. But I've always worked out. I've been very successful not having tons of goals. And I do have my weld shop here at home as well. Like that's where I'm in now. Is my garage is a giant, like 35 by 35 shop, and I do full on welding out of here. So I could go full time there, but at the ski resort's so much fun. I don't have a job I want to leave. That's some of the problem with doing that is I don't have to. They pay me quite well. I get a lot of freedom anymore. I've been there for almost 20 years, like 18 years. So I get to do really cool projects. I do a lot of really good welding at work. And the pay's good. I get free passes for the kids. I recommend ski resort work to people because it's freaking fun. Pay's always not as good, but once you're there, it's great. So I don't know what the goal is, but if I need to, I will. Like that's kind of what it's always been. If it comes down to full time, that'd be great. We'll make more money. I know I would make more money if I had more time to offer more products and more services. I would crush it, but I haven't had to yet. So I guess that's where I'm at. Kind of don't know. We'll see.
And I don't know, man. I like any welding work, but a lot of
Yep.
repairs on something like that, I don't know how
Sucks.
much I would like it. And
Repairs where
here's
it's hard. Go ahead.
another thing is I've never been to Utah, but when I think of Utah, I'm thinking like hot desert, canyons. Is it artificial snow?
Oh yes, both. So Utah's a cool environment because we do have all the desert canyons. That's all like south of me. So we're living at I think Salt Lake's right at like 4,500 feet. So we're pretty high. We get a lot of snow here in Salt Lake Valley, but it also gets 100 degrees in the summer. So they consider it a high desert. So above us, like I'm working at 9,000 feet is where the ski resorts are. So it's pretty high mountains. We got some pretty big mountains up here. But down south, yeah, it's full on desert. Down in southern Utah, it doesn't really get above 65 or it stays like 65 in the winter. Like it doesn't get a lot of snow down there. So yeah, it's both. That's what's so cool about here. Like I can drive to the desert within 3 hours, 2 hours. There's even one west of us that's different, like a full on like wet Texas type desert. So yeah, but we get tons of snow. We do make snow on the ski resorts, yeah, because what they started making artificial snow so they can open early and stay open later in case like it doesn't start snowing. So yeah, we got both options. It's pretty cool. You'd love it here, dude. It's so freaking cool. We'd have to get you guys out here. It's so fun. Once you got here, you wouldn't want to leave because you can. There's big canyons you can see forever. Tons of off road stuff. The outdoor world in Utah can't be beat. Like we just went camping in the high mountains. We were at 10,000 feet hunting elk last week, and then you could get down to 2,000. Just having a great time. But yeah, back to the crack repairs. Repairs suck because your welds always look like shit after, and you never did. They just don't look amazing. You're you're covered in grinding dust and all that. Like right now at work, so what I'm doing, the I'm repairing bull wheels. And what that is, it's like the big shiv wheel that the rope actually drives, that actually drives the rope. It's what spins the rope. There's one at the top that drives, and there's one at the bottom that's an idler. And they're getting pretty old, and they kind of have a weird design, and they're starting to crack. But it's 1 inch plate welded to a huge I beam, and they're starting to crack a little bit. So I got to go and air arc out the cracks, plus the material to like you have enough room to actually get into the crack because the cracks are going all the way, almost all the way through this 1 inch plate. So you got to V that out huge. So I'm air arcing, standing on scaffolding like in a hole practically, but up in the air. So I'm in a V. My head's right next to the air arc, and then you're die grinding it out, dude. It's terrible. It sucks so
Oh,
bad.
yep.
I don't know if you saw. I posted one the other day. It's a reel of my Miller helmet just covered in splatter from one day because the whole thing's overhead. Like you're all overhead, and your hands are above your head too. It's fully overhead, not just an overhead weld, like legit shitty, like fully leathered out. Then your leather starts burning out. But I don't know. It's kind of fun. It kind of really sucks too, but whatever. It's part of the job. You got to go in there and repair that shit. And half the time the welds look good, half the time they don't look good. I don't post that shit on here because it's just hard to get a consistent weld sometimes. And I'm using FluxCore for a lot of it just because when you got to go in and they're only like 4 inch, 3 inch welds, but well, the crack was only an inch, but to get it to work, I got to gouge out 4 inches. So my welds are decent, and FluxCore just made it easier rather than using a stick and grabbing and restarting and starting. So FluxCore's making it awesome. That's one of my favorite processes. Truly, you can weld anything with that shit. So
Yeah.
What are you using like a regular welder hooked up to an generator or like an engine driven unit?
no, I'm using an engine-driven unit on a suitcase. If you've seen those, like it's a
Mm,
wire.
yep.
So you're engine-driven, and then you plug in like you plug in your stinger, but you plug in a suitcase that's your wire feed, and it gets powered. I'm using a Miller that is, I think it's the Trailblazer or the Bobcat. I always forget, and it's super smart nowadays. Like it talks to the engine-driven, and it'll change my voltage right at it, and I don't have to walk back and forth. I can adjust everything, and it just changes it through your regular leads. It's a really nice
Well,
way to
that's
go, and
nice.
I can run a dual shield with that, but I'm in windy conditions at times, so I don't mess with the dual shield just because of that. Like I'd have to ford up too much to want to mess with. And there's another thing I got to bring up there. I already got an air compressor and a freaking tort and a air arc up there, and I'm also Magnaflux chasing the crack with a magnet and yoke and all that, and spraying it with powder to try to find the crack as I'm going through it. So yeah, flux core is my way to go on those. I could stick them, but I'm not always the best stick welder, so I only do that when I have to. And when you're doing a whole lot of little repairs, it's a pain in the butt. When you're starting your weld and then you're only going 2 inches, I don't ever like how that ends up. I never like it.
Nope.
And how are you getting up there on a hill? Like, is it a scissor lift on a slope or what's going on?
Yeah, pretty much.
You said yes. Oh fuck.
A lot of times, pretty similar. So some of the times, like depending on what I could get, what are my other guys using? I've done it off of a front loader. I really like using a front loader bucket and just turning the bucket so it's all like dumped out, and you stand on the top of the big front loader, like pivoting front loader bucket, because you get a huge platform. I'll stand on that. This week I've been standing on scaffold because some of the equipment's used up. So I figured I got a couple of pieces of scaffolding, bunch like shimmed up with wood and stuff so I could stand on it. I'm up there about 10 to 15 feet, but I also done it a lot on like an all-terrain forklift in a man basket. Have a guy run it for me, get it just right. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. And you got to wait till it's kind of like fall or winter, or you're starting the forest on fire because there's grass everywhere, there's bushes. So a lot of the times I'm doing this when it's full on snowing, like terrible out.
Gosh.
Yeah, dude. Last year and the years before, this year I got out a little early because of FabTech. I'm like, I'm gone for this time. I'm like, okay, let's get you out welding soon. Told my management, like, I got to do it now. So we got out a little early. Had a guy with a water bucket spraying down all the weeds. It is. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of fun work, but it sucks when you're up there doing it, fully leathered out. But in the snow, I'm wearing full on like insulated Carhartts, big double pairs of socks because it's 20 degrees out and blowing and nasty. Somebody's got to do it, and I guess that's me. So whatever.
So besides welding, what else do you do as far as the maintenance side or the repair side?
So I was really into the diesel. So a ski lift has an electric motor. That's its main power source to run it. They're huge, like 400 to 600 horsepower motors, like as big as a toolbox, like you're big or big as a car. Really, they're huge. And they have a backup diesel. And I serviced those for years and years. But I've kind of handed that over to one of my buddies and let him do it a little more because I'm busy doing other stuff. So that was really fun to service those in the fall. But I do a lot of the gearbox repairs lately. So we have huge gearboxes with like ring and pinions that are, I got one over here, it's hard to grab out, that are about 2 feet around. So they're huge gearboxes. And I got to, we go in and rebuild those and service those. I do a lot of that. But ski industry has a lot of jobs with this because there's guys, you have to go up and climb the towers or ride to the towers and pick up the rope and grease every wheel. And if the bearings go out, change the bearings, change the rubber on the wheels. So that's a really fun job. You're out in like take the chair off and you put on we call it a man basket. So it'd be like a steel cage that you can stand all over. And you got to go out and you get chain hoists and you lift the rope up off of the wheels and grease them, change them. It's a pretty fun job to do that. You're out for a couple weeks on a line, kind of in the woods with your buddy. You got a driver, you're working off the radio, telling him to bump it. And then the other part, one of the other big things with ski lifts is the grip, the part that grabs the rope. You know, like you look up and you're hanging from the chair, it grabs onto the rope. That has to be torn apart every 3 years and NDT'd, so it has to be non-destructive tested and greased and rebuilt and put new bolts in, put new bearings in, or bushings. They don't use a lot of bearings, but all the different parts need to be tested. So we have guys that have to go take off all those chairs all summer long. They're kind of doing this. It gets kind of tedious, but you take off the chair, tear that grip apart and rebuild it and make sure it's not cracked, looking for any issues with it, making sure it's greased, putting it back together, checking the springs. So there's so much work to do, man. These machines take millions of dollars of maintenance work really every year. It's pretty awesome.
That's crazy.
Damn.
Well, yeah, there's so much work. Our parts budget, I think, we have quite a few lifts now. We got like 20 something, and it's a couple $1 million in parts every year, plus all the extra shit that falls apart. They're pretty fun to work on. They really are. That's part of why, like I said, I haven't quit. doing it because it's actually fun. Every day is a little different. And then come winter, we're pretty much like on call maintenance. We're there. We're on site on call. We're just kind of hanging out, skiing, ride the rides, and see if they break. Stay late if something
I just gotta
happens.
test it, boss. I swear, I just gotta
Yeah,
test it.
I'm
I'll
not.
ski back down and I'll test
I'll,
it again. I gotta test each
exactly,
basket, you know.
exactly. You got to ride them all. Oh, I heard a noise. I got to go back down and check that one out. So it's pretty fun in the winter. Like we get to ski a lot. We get to go down. We open them up early. We're the first ones on the hill, kind of the last ones to leave.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, so you get to see a lot of cool shit. We're driving snowmobiles. We're on. We if something breaks, we go get a snowcat. I don't know if you guys do you know what snowcats are? Like they're a
Oh yeah.
really big. Oh, you look them up, dude. They're super cool. Snowcat is a really large. It's like a dozer, but lighter. It's almost built just like a dozer, but with aluminum tracks, super light, and they can drive up some gnarly shit. They are super fun. Big diesel engines in them, and we'll run those around and run parts and stuff. And then at night, what those machines are used for is they go smooth out the ski run again every night. So they have this. They have a tiller on the back. They have a big blade that articulates in like 10 different ways. So you get these equipment operators up there, and they run that at night, all night long, 2 shifts. They go bust down the smooth out the run, and then you get fresh, like corduroy is what we call it when the run is like, looks like corduroy pants. So it's all smoothed out, and you can haul ass down it. When we take those out, you get to run a lot of different equipment. It's a really fun gig. It really is.
I've I've never skied or snowboarded, and my brother's
We got
big into snowboarding. But he took my other brother once, and my other brother hated it. He was sore as hell. He said it sucked.
yeah, the first few
I
days
love
are
it.
rough. The first few days can be tough, man. Where do you guys, what's the closest hill to you guys?
Oh, to me, it's like North Carolina. I think it's Sugar Beach or something. But
For
that was
me,
the only time I've ever been, and it's been a blast.
for
It's
me, it'd be
fun.
Colorado for sure.
Oh, nice. Yeah, get out there. Try to go. It's pretty fun. It's not cheap. That's the shitty part. It's expensive as
Yeah,
hell.
it's not cheap. Yeah,
Anywhere, it is not cheap. All the gear you got to get, all the pants and gloves and goggles, and it's so much damn money, but it's pretty
but it is
fun.
so much fun. If you have a chance to do it more than just once a year, it's so worth investing in that stuff.
Oh, it totally
I
is.
mean, if
That's
I
a lot
lived
of why.
closer to a place to do it, I would be on the hills every day too.
Oh, hell yeah. It's fun. That's why you got to work in it practically. If you're not some rich white collar worker, it makes it tough, man. If you're not in
Yeah,
the doing something where they're paying you a bunch of money, it's you got to work in the industry a little bit. It makes it super fun. But here
What's
in Utah, what's that? Go ahead.
what's your favorite tool other than like a welder at your 9 to 5, and then also
mm.
when it comes to building your own Picket Master Pros and center finders and products at your house?
My favorite tool, dang, I don't know. I like all tools. I have a problem with tools. A big problem with tools.
Me
I don't
too.
know. It's like I got a huge. That's only one of my like boxes. Oh man, let's shoot at work. One of my favorite tools. Heck, probably like rigging equipment. I really like rigging equipment, like chain hoists,
Yes.
fall, like that kind of shit is so fun. I love rigging. We do some huge stuff with rigging to where we're working with 40,000 pounds on a haul rope and stuff.
Whew.
We got to take that apart. So every now and again, the the cable, we call it a rope, you have to actually take it apart. So I have to rig up with block and tackle system. It's a 10-part block with a steel cable to where we're pulling with the winch 2,000 pounds, but we're truly pulling 25,000 pounds in the end. So
Yeah,
it's,
with the
I really
with
like
the
rigging. I'd
ratio.
say rigging's one of my favorite at work. Everything else is whatever. But at home in my shop, I think one of the coolest new things I've messed with is like plasma cutters, like CNC plasma and laser cutting it and engraving. Been getting into that quite a bit. So that's kind of yeah, that's some of my favorite stuff right now. And then I did get a mag drill. We'll add that in. Mag drills are cool.
Oh, I got a mag drill. That is probably every time I get to use it, I'm looking. I'm like, man, you are my favorite tool in this entire shop right now. It
Yeah,
is
they
that is
could
probably the best tool you can get.
they could
Oh,
save so much time. Yeah, I'm a huge tool nerd.
and
I
do
have
really high
every.
quality work. Yeah.
You really can. They're all precision holes. I got the Evolution one, so it's not the nicest one out there, but it
Hmm.
gets the job done,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
I was
Evolution makes
it,
nice stuff. I think Evolution makes pretty good stuff.
they do for the cost of it. You can get people into it
Yeah,
cheap.
exactly.
It's foreign made, but everything else is, and it's affordable. Like that's
Yeah,
what's cool about their stuff. It's good stuff that's
absolutely.
affordable.
Do you
Yeah,
laser
I love
etch or
tools.
engrave? your
I,
Picket Master Pros at all?
I do. Yeah, I put my name on it, my logo. I don't know if we're gonna be alive on here or not. I'd engrave my name and my website onto each tool. I was sending it out to a shop here locally, and then I ended up getting an X Tool laser engraver. They sent one to me, and I got it to work with it. So that's a really benefit. I've saved, I'd almost say $10,000, if not 20, now that I have my own. They are so fun. If you could find a cool little laser, get one. You can learn to do so much with it. My kid is crushes it with the damn thing. I give him all the projects anymore, and he just does it. He gets on, draws it up. They're such a cool little machines. I'm only using it's a diode laser, I believe, and it can do metal. Like they tell you it can't, but it really can. You just got to go a little slower. I do use an etching
Yep.
spray nowadays, and that gets it darker. They are fun to have. You can do. I'm doing stainless steel parts with it, and it comes out really well. It's not the fastest one out there, but
Yeah, you were talking about a little bit of the inconsistencies with the holes, and I was wondering if maybe you like etched that hole on, and then
so they cut the hole with the laser for me, like a Sencut does, and it's really good. It's consistently good now, but it's still not accurate enough for the pivot that I want. You know, so I have a guy, I pay a buddy at work, and he sits down at a drill press and just reams out every hole with a straight reamer and his drill press. And then we throw it in the washer and wash it, so it comes out good. But they do cut it really well whole, but it's still, even with the laser, you still get a start and a stop, just like your plasma table.
Mm.
How you have that, you can't get rid of that with much stuff like that. Really start and stop. You're in and out, whatever they call it. So that's always in the hole, and that just kind of interferes with it. So that's another one. People get mad at me on it TikTok because I tell them that I ream the holes, and they're like, "You could use a better laser." No, I'm using the best lasers they got. Like it's just not
Yeah.
as accurate. If you're bolting something a flange up, perfect, it'll work great. But when it's a pivot, it does change that, I believe.
and when all the time goes into it, if you don't have an exact number, what would you estimate your personal labor goes into making one?
Right now, I don't have to do a lot of me. It's kind of working out good. So, but each one probably does fully. If somebody's takes a good, it's almost half an hour. But it's all
Yeah.
batch work too. So, but we're washing them, we're buying them, we're processing, we're tumbling them like that, we're reaming them, and assembling. And lately, I've been paying my kids, and they've been assembling them, dude. It's a family business now. To where all summer I haven't built one. I've just supplied them with everything they need, and I pay my kids piecemeal, and they put them together for me and do a really good job, and they have cash to do what they want with. Like they're teaching them how business works a little bit, how working works at a young age. They're young teenagers, so they can go buy dumb shit now, and I don't care what it is. Like they want to use it on ice
Hey,
cream, they
that's
use it on
fair.
ice cream. It's really fun because I used to, when I'd give the kids a little bit of money for allowance, and I'd kind of care, like, oh, you don't want to buy that Lego, save it up. I'm like, I don't give a shit now. You earned it. Like, I don't get a say if you want to waste it on a bunch of dumb shit or one big dumb thing. Go ahead. So I don't have to. I don't have to do a lot anymore.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like when when my dad when me and my brothers, I got two brothers both older than me, and when we were kids and my dad would have to go to work on like Saturday or a weekend,
Yeah.
and he was a welder as well. He would take us with him, and we would go around through all the trash cans, and all the shop guys would always be drinking like soda or energy drinks, and we'd get all the aluminum cans, and then he'd let us
Nice.
split the scrap money.
Oh hell yeah.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, I like to do that with the kids too. I got a scrap pile out back, and I'll have them haul that all together and put it on the trailer for me and deal with it, and then I give them that money usually because it's usually not enough for anything, so they get to split
Just
that up.
get this out of my yard. Yup, my dad did the same thing. He's like, you get it out of here, you can have it. It's just got to go today.
Yep, that's kind of how I run it with them. I need to do that before winter because it's going to be covered in snow here. There's a big pile out there. It's random
Good
ass shit.
kids, it sounds like.
They're nice. Kids having little slaves is nice to have. No, that's awesome. You guys' dad, your dads were into the trades. Were they both welders then? Both, or was your dad a welder
Well,
too,
no,
Andrew?
my dad, when he was buying properties and converting businesses, he would be pulling
Oh,
old
sweet.
washers and dryers or fridges out and scrap iron tables and stuff like that. And like he would sell what he could, but everything else it just sat around. So eventually
Yep.
it would just be stacked up, and we'd have a 16-foot trailer piled high of 30 or 40-year-old washers and dryers that needed to go to the scrapyard. So
Oh,
my dad was
cool.
never in the industry actually. I'm first generation
No.
welder. So
Oh, sweet. Sounds like he still got into some shit with him, so he was working his ass off still.
Oh yeah, he had his hands in a lot of different things.
Yeah, that's killer.
Yeah,
Yeah, my old man was a diesel mechanic, so he was he had to be a good mechanic. You got to be a decent welder. You don't have to be great at it, but you need to know how
Yep.
to do it. So he was pretty good at it. So he's actually how I got into welding too. He dropped me off when I was like 16 and said, "Hey, you're working here." I said, "Oh, okay, sounds cool. Let's do it." You're making more than most of your buddies, but not. So it was always a nice career to get into pretty young.
Yeah,
right.
then Bren's been in it for a while. Or your dad's been in it for a long time, hasn't he?
Yeah, my dad's been so. I apprenticed at this shop called Chief Fabrication here in Grand Island, Nebraska, and it's family owned and still will be for at least, I mean, a long time because I know who's taking it over, and she's only like 23 or something. One of the
Nice,
daughters of the current president, and then his dad was one, and his foster brother was actually also started a huge metal manufacturing company here and sold his company for 100 million a couple years ago. And
damn.
yeah, so it's a huge industry family, and also Hornady Ammunition was founded here and is
Oh
still family
shit,
owned as well here.
we were using some of
Yeah,
that
so we
just last week.
I got some right in front of me, but
Nice.
it's a big industry town, right? And so when I was 15, I applied for an apprenticeship through the local high school. The high school is kind of a trade high school, is the way it works. Not just
Cool.
trades. You can go like sports science, EMT route. Like they've got full on ambulance
Nice.
simulators, flight mechanics, stuff like that. And so they hook us up with local apprenticeships, and I started at the Chief Fabrication, and that's also where my dad started when he was 18 as a welder, and
Cool.
he's still there, and he's oh man, I think he's turning 53 Christmas
Nice.
Eve. But
What
yeah,
kind of
he's
welding
still
mostly is that doing? Just fabricating parts mostly?
it was definitely mass fab, like
Yep.
agricultural, a lot
Oh,
of it.
cool.
But you were kind of talking about man baskets. That's the only TIG they do is a ton of aluminum man baskets
Oh,
for
sweet.
all-tech service trucks for linemen and stuff like
Yep.
that. So that's also how I got my start in TIG welding. And then I left because I didn't like mass fab and I wanted like higher quality, less quantity. And I got really lucky in the position that I found at a company called Dramco Tool and Die. And you know, mold making, working with like there's two of us welders and there's like 50 or 60 tool makers or die builders or mold
Yep.
builders, and those guys like think we can hold a weld to the thousandths of an inch. So it's
Oh,
frustrating
wow.
right now because this welding side is still new to all of them, but
Yeah.
the quality is really quality over quantity is really what sucked me in here.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah,
That'd be nice. I've never really had to do that where it has to be the perfect welds, anything like that. So that's where my welds are not always the best because never had to be. Even with like repairs, they got to be good enough to hold forever, but not look pretty and holding a tolerance is never that much of a factor. Even building handrails, like doesn't matter. They just got to hold.
it's still learning every day for me for sure. Like coming from that mass fab, just throw
Yep.
some shit down to that. But it's a lot cooler. It's a lot more fun when I enjoy what I do, and I'm
Oh yeah,
I like our customers because it's pretty cool shit. Some of our customers that we get to do work for,
that's
a lot
awesome.
of aerospace and DoD contracting, but
Oh cool.
and cool owners, man. It's family or not family owned anymore, but it was bought. Three of the machinists, or no, four at the time, bought out the family that owned it, and it's still owned by those four owners that
Oh cool.
were machinists, like were doing the work. Yeah, that is pretty cool, and
That's nice.
it's
That'd be
just a
really cool.
cool environment. Yeah.
I work for a giant corporation now. We got bought out. We were a small kind of privately owned company for a while, and then we got bought out by one of the conglomerates about maybe 8 years ago. Shit's changing. The pay's gone up, but there's a lot more bullshit, but it's changed. That's where doing my
Yeah,
own thing.
there's
That's one thing that might add to it. If that stuff gets more annoying.
yeah, but also like man, the benefits with those big huge
Yeah.
companies is a huge plus. Not for me right now because I'm still young enough to be on my parents' health insurance and all that. So I'm
Oh,
riding
nice.
that until
Do it.
I can't anymore. But shit like that, and then also like European companies, they take like a month-long vacation every year. You know, all their employees.
Yep.
So I don't know if that transfers over to a European company that has a plant here in the U.S. or
I
not.
don't think so. They want us working. Americans don't get time off. We get to
But
work.
yeah.
You're not allowed to take time off.
I also
Oh,
wonder like how it works for a European company because if all their employees if they shut down the plant for a month, but if that's the norm over there in that kind of world, then what happens when everybody's on vacation? You know,
yep. It
I don't
just gets hard.
understand how it all works.
It it gets trickier when they do that. Even like in China, they do that. I've dealt with that with some of the I guess who I affiliate with and get product from, and they're like, "Oh, we were on vacation for a while. We'll get you stuff sent you now." It's yeah. I don't. I think we still work. They get a time off. We don't.
And
That apprenticeship
speaking of
system sounds awesome. Yeah, go ahead though.
no, well, I'd like to talk about that actually. Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
really
is
think that
awesome.
sounds cool. We don't do that here in Utah very much, where there is some like trade high schools and stuff like that. I want to see it a lot more. That sounds like kind of what they do in Europe and Canada. Like what you're saying is like as a young kid, you get directed towards a trade of whatever kind, whether it's like you're saying it's kind of more of a just a skilled labor or not. But that sounds really cool because here there's not much that way where they're actually helping you find a cool job and teaching you really young to do it. I think America needs a lot more of that. Hopefully that can spread. But let's hear more how that works. Then you go to they help you find something pretty young, huh?
Yeah, so your freshman year, it's called like freshman exploration. You do a bunch of like personality tests, find out how you learn best. And I always knew I learned best like hands on. Not
Yep.
you give me a packet, I'm not gonna do this shit or not all of it. I'll take
Yep.
that 68% grade over doing all of it. And
Yep.
so they kind of started to recognize that with a lot of kids, right? And it was a it's kind of a copy paste from a school in Nashville that I think started it. And actually, one of the administrators that started it here moved to that school in Nashville. He's still super cool. Dan Phillips, legendary guy for me. When I got the opportunity to weld underwater in Houston, him and my principal Daryl Hawley are contacting all the news stations like, you got to get this kid, like, and
They want it to
opportunities to
spread.
speak on, yeah, and opportunities to speak on panels for the current students. Shit like Andrew and I did, where we donated 80 welding hoods, stuff like that is just the coolest part. And then um, like being out in the industry, finding other students that went through that same stuff, succeeding in it,
Yeah.
that's cool too. So you get that freshman year, and then sophomore year, you kind of do a little bit more of it, but they put you in like an elective course of your pathway is what they call it. So I had like
Yep.
one welding class, and then that's kind of like to trial if you want to change it, if you want to switch, because you can only switch once. And then I was super frustrated, man. I just didn't care enough to change because I was horrible. I would always stick my rod and freaking bend that thing and throw it across the shop, shit like that. But I stuck with it. I was like, all right, I don't know what I'll do. I'll just do something. And then junior year is when they send the welders to the local community college and they cover your classes. So you're getting college credits while learning welding as well, and that's half your day. It was hour and a half classes. It's called block scheduling. So for
Yep.
3 hours out of your day, you'd be welding, and then eventually senior year, all your electives are knocked out in your normal classes. So I only had every other day I would have to go to the college and weld for 3 hours a day, and then I'm done for the day, and I can go to my apprenticeship and get class credits for working while getting paid as well at the apprenticeship. Um,
We need more of that. That needs to come back for every. Is that so? To go to that school, is that just your regular high school, or is that an actual like different high school than like most kids would go to? Does
that's the
that
public
make
school.
sense? So that's just your public school. Like you'd go to your closest school, like that's the one you do, and they have that going on. That is cool.
Yeah, they don't really do that closest school like type of section because it's. I mean, it's a pretty big city for Nebraska. It's
Yeah.
like around 50,000, but so there's like a private Catholic school and then a private ish kind of school,
Okay.
west of
Everybody's
town.
going to the same school. That's sweet. I wish that would happen way more here in the city because I'm in a pretty big town. We're a couple million people, but there's like they have some of that where it's like you have to go to those special schools, and even in the coast school. My daughter's going to a regular close high school, and for her, there is some trade schools she can go to with it, but it's not quite an apprenticeship deal like you're saying that I understand yet. That they can actually get their career path because we have a hard time finding people to do what I'm doing big time. And that's what I've been trying to figure out ways to get something like this going. We're pretty young. We get kids learning how to work on machines, how to weld, how to be electricians, whatever, and then gives them a job right away where they're making good money. They could just come out of school making 25, $30 an hour right away is how it really needs to be because there's nobody to do this work anymore.
It's especially cool if you choose a trade through the pathway because
Yeah.
there's a construction pathway there, and then in that you can choose electrical, IT,
Nice.
stuff like that. So every year the construction pathway will build 2 houses in partnership with one of the nonprofits here, and it's called Hope Harbor, or I think it's Hope Harbor. No, Habitat for Humanity. That's who
Yep.
it is, and so like the welders will get to do the handrails, the IT guys get to do the smart HVAC
Oh,
system,
cool.
the electricians do that, the roofers, the concrete. There's all kinds of different routes you can take in it. So I mean, they've really got it pretty dialed in.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I think we have something similar to that, but yeah, I hope that, because I know in Canada that's a huge thing. Like you're saying, like almost every school goes that way. Every trade, like you have to be an apprentice to get a job as a welder up there in Europe, and even to be a millwright or diesel mechanic or whatever. You start super young and they direct you the right way and teach you everything, everything you need to know. And we just need to start moving that way but I don't know what's fighting it because corporations should love it too. It gets them employees right away who are trained the way they want them to. Yeah, you start them pretty affordable, and then they can all grow and everybody starts making money and knows how to fix the shit. You don't have to bring in Europeans and to do all the hard work, especially in like the millwright world. Like it's a tough industry because it's so complicated and full of different things that it's somewhere that I hope schools can start looking at that one a lot more. 'Cause that's pretty much what I'm doing is millwright. We do electrical, hydraulic, mechanical, and it's everything. It's hard to find people who understand it. That we don't just teach in house. Where if
It,
we started
it's
teaching,
it's kind of
go ahead.
crazy that's not more common in Utah because of how big you guys are into Skills USA. At least in the welding side. I don't know about the rest,
The,
but
the welding side's pretty big into it, of course, but and the construction side and stuff. But there's like all these niche sides that are not quite as big yet. But Skills USA is a huge thing here, yeah. So there is a lot of the welding. It depends on your teacher with any of this. It's not really a set huge program like you guys have where it doesn't really matter who the teacher is, the state's involved or whatever to get it going. Here around here, it's a lot of you get lucky, get the kids into the right school, the teacher cares enough. It's a little less structured, I would say. But
right.
there is some really awesome like auto shop teachers and that are really getting kids into a bunch of different sectors of it and welding teachers and there's still some schools with machining and everything here but it's not every school. That's what's kind of sad. Like they used to be. Like I had all welding and auto shop in high school and we had and it was even then it was kind of good. Like my welding teacher sucked. He was the auto shop teacher and he didn't know how to weld at all. So, so we could goof off in there all we wanted, but he was kind of shit. So it was an option, but now that school's gone. And in the big cities, what you end up with is like the kids have to go to a certain school. Even if they're in one school, they have to like bus for a couple periods to a secondary building that is like the district building, we'd call it or whatever. And so it kind of just makes it a little harder than it needs to be. But so hopefully they get it back because there's not a lot of us doing this shit right now. There's tons of work. I'm sure you guys see that where there's jobs everywhere.
Yeah, and man, it's crazy how lucky Andrew and I got because Andrew lived up here in Nebraska for a little bit throughout college, and it's crazy how lucky we got with the welding instructors that we had because honestly, most welding instructors aren't that good. Like I feel like
Oh
because they
no.
can get paid more out in the field. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So we got crazy lucky that we had 3 at our college. One of them, it was his retirement job because he got bought out by Airgas. He owns 7 welding supply stores, right?
Oh
So he's
damn.
got welder repair, gas mixing, metallurgy, OA was his big thing, and
Oh
so he's
shit!
got that side covered for all of us. And then you got Mike Snell. Mike Snell was welding crazy pressure vessels for a company called Filter Specialists. I don't remember what the I was for, Andrew. If you do,
I do not. I don't remember what it was.
but he was building like filters for Olympic swimming pools in Africa and stuff like that. Crazy. So he's got that, and he's a CWI, so NDT covered there. Then you got Brandon Pearsall, who was career, and Mike also got out of the field for the benefits at the college because his wife had a pretty rare disease that needed better benefits.
Yep.
And then Brandon Pearsall, this is also his retirement job. He was in the Army for, I don't know, over 20 years, wasn't it, Andrew?
Yeah, I think he did the full 20.
Yeah, so all these guys, it was kind of their retirement jobs, but they all had a different section of the industry that was covered. And Brandon handed us like shit. He handled us like shithead high schoolers.
He did. He tried to.
Because he was in the Army, he was kind of the guy like that broke us into decent humans. So
It's awesome. Yeah, that's the thing with welding. Like, you can either stay at home or you can travel. And the traveling part, that's a different game. That's so much different to have to do that. I got lucky, never had to travel much for any work. There's a lot more money in it, but you want to come home sometimes. That's where the teaching part is really nice. They could come home and start teaching, be 9 to 5 again instead of those late shifts. But I got to probably wrap this up soon, guys. We're headed to a soccer game or a volleyball game here soon. So,
yeah, we got about an hour of good footage.
oh hell
Here's
yeah!
something we ask every guest before we end the episode. What is your favorite genre of music to listen to while you work or weld?
Oh man, that has changed so much since definitely when I was a kid, it was all punk rock and death metal and shit. And now it's kind of turned into country. And right now it's almost more just podcasts and books and stuff, dude. The older I get, the mellower. But I've just got back into some of the heavier punk rock and stuff. But I'd go with country probably. Some of the, like Tyler Childers and stuff like that right now. It's changed a little bit.
And for those that don't know of you or your products, where can they find you at?
You can hit up so the biggest bar where I'm at and easiest contact is on Instagram at SLC, Salt City Still. Of course, TikTok, it's Salt City Still, Facebook, Salt City Still. But my website, saltcitystill.org if you want to get a Picket Master Pro. But Instagram is where I'm at the most all day long. I do have YouTube, but it doesn't really work as well. But yeah, hit me up on Instagram. Please reach out with questions about anything at all. Like you guys do, we all talk a lot. So I'm on there all the time, all day long, pretty much.
Well, we'll see you soon. And for the viewers, his website link will be in the description for the Picket Master Pro or the Center Finder. The Everlast link for the upgraded Nova TIG torch and foot pedal free of additional charge if you order through that link will also be down there. Code BRINWELDS15 on Edge Welding Cups for 15% off also through that link. And Andrew?
And for any all custom welding hoods or other custom leather goods, you can head on over to southernleatherworks.net or hit me up on any social medias at Southern Leatherworks. Mr. Weston with Picket Master Pro, thank you for coming on. We really appreciate hearing about your story and your life coming up in the welding industry. Thanks a lot, man.